This is the case of the miracle baby. That's the way I've been describing it. And I can't remember seeing anything quite like this ever in all the years I've been covering true crime and trials and cases and horrendous people like this defendant. A baby in Tennessee is found abandoned on the front yard of a stranger. Now, the person dropping the baby off, before he drops the baby off, he's leaning on the horn, honking on the horn, making sure that the people in the house knew that he was leaving a baby there, and then he took off. From the baby, they were able to figure out who the parents were. The law enforcement posted pictures of the baby online. The public reacted. This is a small community in Tennessee. The public reacts very quickly, and investigators put two and two together and can figure out who the parents are. So they figure out where their address is, and they head over there expecting to arrest the parents. But instead of arresting the parents, what they find is mass carnage. Mom is gone. Dad is gone. Grandma is taken out, and the 15-year-old uncle of the baby. This baby's family wiped out. A manhunt ensues, and Austin Drummond is named as the suspect, and he's now been captured. And what we're going to talk about here is now what? Now what? Because we have some developments in the case, and we'll look at what's going to happen going forward in all of this. With this defendant, Austin Drummond, captured after being on the lam for several days. I'm Vinnie Politan. This is the Tangent Podcast. With me, Albert H. Wunsch III.
Hola, Tangenistas.
And, of course, the radio legend, the one and only Jonesy.
It's showtime.
It absolutely is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Tangent Podcast.
Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast.
Here we go. It's the soundtrack of Friday. And if you're looking for a good time, come on out to Crime Con. We'll be there, all three of us, in the same place. This is like, it's like seeing a comet go across the sky when Vinny, Al, and Jonesy are all in the same place. Doesn't happen that often.
Nope. And we like it that way. But no. When you get there, just tell them the Tangents sent you. Okay.
So,
be loud, be proud.
I wonder if people know which one of us is the tallest.
Well, we know you're the tallest at Court TV.
I am the tallest at Court TV, but am I the tallest of the Tangents?
I used to think that Albert was the tallest, actually, and I was walking behind you gentlemen at the Shea Stadium when we went to see the Mets, and I believe it's pretty close.
Is it close? Is it?
I think so.
Okay. Well, you know, you never know when you meet someone in real life. You're like, oh, you know, what do you get, Jonesy, when people meet you? Do they say like, you know, because they've heard your voice for years, and then they get to meet you and see you? What's the reaction people have?
In you know, in the modern world in radio, unlike the old days, which I preferred, people already know what you look like from websites and, you know, those billboards over Route 21 with my face on it and that sort of thing. Oh no, actually that was Jim Kerr. But people tend to already know what I look like, so they don't really comment on anything like that. They may make a couple of They may make a couple of fat jokes, which or bug-eye jokes, because they're used to my deceased on-air partner doing that with regularity, and so they'll do that, which like bothers me a little bit, because it's one thing if you guys rib me, it's another thing if some dude walks up to me on the boardwalk and says, "Get a little fatso there," you know. But they don't really comment on like
Got a lot of fatso.
Hey, got a lot of fatso over there.
I used to be much taller, actually. They say you shrink when you get older, and apparently it's true.
That's why you got to hang upside down like Richard Gere in what was that movie he was in?
Was that
His breakout movie.
Yeah.
American Gigolo?
American Gigolo. That's right.
Yeah.
Grandpa Munster used to hang upside down.
Yeah, you hang upside down by your feet, and you stay as tall as you've ever been. So you need to start doing that, Jonesy.
I don't know about that. It's been a long time since I stood on my head. When's the last time you gentlemen stood on your head? Remember doing that as a child?
I could never do it.
Neither could I.
I would do it up against the wall, which is
okay,
cheap.
Against the wall. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about this clown here.
Oof. This is a horrible individual.
He is. Thank goodness he was caught. This was perhaps one of the most desperate and dangerous type of person. He's a felon, a convicted felon, did time for a violent crime. I think it was a robbery.
Aggravated robbery.
Aggravated robbery, and actually maxed out, right? Yep. Most people get parole because the jails want to get you out. But this guy went before the parole board, was not given it because of the bad record he had as an inmate.
Yeah, well, and he was also charged as an inmate. So, you know, he had a pending charge against him that he was able to bail out on, and then this happens. So he had an attempted red rum charge. He bailed out, and then, you know, now there's 4 people who are no longer with us, and there is a small child whose life will never be the same.
What I don't understand with let's start first with why he was free. So, you know, at age 17, I believe, is when he was sentenced as an adult. He maxed out on doing about 10 years. He's out for 11 months, but before he's released from prison, as Al said, he's charged with attempted red rum, okay? Yep. For what he did in prison. And this is a guy whose history is he's so bad that he couldn't even get out on parole as a young, youthful offender, right? Couldn't get out on parole, attempted red rum while he's there, yet he is given bond. Like he's able to make bond to get out and be free. What did they think was going to happen? Like, what did they think was going to happen here? That's what I don't understand. He spent his entire adult life in prison and not a model prisoner. And then they let him out while he's pending a charge that can put him away for decades again.
It's baffling to me because ordinarily, I mean, in New Jersey, what they do is they have a risk assessment that's done on every prisoner. And then based on that risk assessment, it's determined as to whether or not they could be released or be released, because we don't have bail in New Jersey anymore, but right. Be released or be released with restrictions. And
well, he maxed out though, so they couldn't restrict him at all.
No. Restrictions on a pending charge. So gotcha. In New Jersey, they have 3 tiers that if they think you are a risk, but there's not enough of an opportunity because it's clear and convincing to keep you in jail prior to your hearing. If you're on tier 3, they have a number of things that are required, like weekly has to show up at probation. This has to be done, has to check in, has curfew, could be house arrest, cannot come out, other than to go to your lawyer, go to a doctor, and that's the only way you can get out of the house. So, there's different tiers that come into play for people who are specifically waiting for a trial.
It's interesting. He's in the Tennessee Department of Corrections, maximum security, right? You look at it's like he's at a Diddy White party.
Yeah, it looks like he bought some merch at the merch table there.
Yeah.
I never saw anybody wearing a shirt with the prison name on it before.
And he's got the hat. My understanding, and we've heard some stories, I haven't independently verified any of it, but a lot of the talk is that he was living it up while in prison. Now, the prison was only about a mile or two from where the mass carnage was in this case, where he allegedly committed the quadruple red rum, is only like 2 miles from where he was an inmate, right?
Right.
And did he have access to alcohol here? Like what's going on? What's the deal with this bottle? He looks really happy. He's taking selfies. How does this happen when you're in prison? And I'm wondering if he had such a good time in prison that it was a better place for him to be in, and maybe he's not so adverse to being locked up for the rest of his life.
Look, you know what? Charles Manson always used to say that he spent 90% of his life, in prison. From a very, very early age and everything else. And that, he was very comfortable there. There are people that can't get out.
Jones, he's got more phones than you.
Is that a flip phone he's got there?
I don't think they're flips. He looks like he might have like the Max Pro, the Apple Max Pro here. They get tablets in prison, which is crazy. I don't know if they have internet access or if that's how they have phone calls, if they can read books. I don't know. I understand you have to keep you can't torture them. You have to give them a reason to behave, to get privileges and things, to keep order and keep the guards safe, etc. However, this is a guy who had dozens of infractions during his stay, yet he still has access to all these things. He looks very comfortable. Right? I mean,
you do see this. I mean, there is situations. I mean, I remember going back a number of years, Richard Speck, who was a serial red rummer in Chicago, had killed a number of nurses, and they had like basically home movies of him dressed in women's attire with some other inmates and, hanging out with the boys and all this other kind of stuff. Like a home movie inside. It's like, so where did they get this stuff? Where did they get the camera? Where did they get this? And then how does it get released? So
this could be a screenshot by someone he was talking to at the time, right?
Right.
Now, take a look at what JoyWag 2183 is saying. Thank you, JoyWag. What about that viral video of those inmates with big screen TVs eating pizza and playing video games?
I mean, they do have television. They do have, they do have a recreation room.
So back in the day, my brother was, speaking of Richard Speck, my brother was in and out of prison, and I seem to recall, I was kind of young, I was a teenager, that you were allowed to have in your cell whatever your family could afford to pay you within reason, pay for. Like you could buy a radio for them, and that sort of thing. He also had some infractions, and one of them was smoking marijuana in prison. He was caught with that.
Who, your brother?
Yeah.
A marijuana cigarette? Where did he get that from?
Probably from a prison guard. I don't really know. I'm just speculating here. But he actually showed me the letter. He was let out on parole, and they forgave him for that, or they exonerated him or whatever, because he had glaucoma. And glaucoma, marijuana was a known treatment for glaucoma. This goes back, years when marijuana was truly illegal. And yet, like, even though he wasn't really taking it for glaucoma, like, it was that laxed,
right.
the violations and such.
Well, they do have certain perks. They have a commissary, and you can buy things at the commissary. you're not allowed to bring in a radio or anything along those lines. What you can buy things though at the commissary.
Can you buy things like that?
Yeah, you can buy. You can buy. Well, I'm not sure you can buy marijuana at the commissary, but you could, because now the prisons don't have smoking. Okay,
Right.
back in the old days they were allowed, no longer. But the commissary has. You can buy a radio there. You can even buy a small television there. Just have to have the money to be able to fund it.
Yeah, so. There's been a lot of talk about him and how he was able to live behind bars, but he's out just 11 months, about 11 months when all this happens. Let's talk about the baby and the aspect of the baby here, because to me that's what makes this case different. That's why I'm covering this story. Why would he do that? Like, what does that tell us about who this guy is? Someone who is capable of the violence and the mass carnage and the taking out of an entire family. And he knew these people. These were not strangers.
Right. There was a connection.
He dated the grandma's sister. Now, grandma's only 38 years old, right? Grandma of the baby, right? The baby's grandma's 38. Her sister dated this guy, so he knew everyone. They actually... a family member spoke highly of him before this happened, saying before this, like, he was a good guy. Like,
he was a good guy. He was a good
in the way he treated everyone. In the way he treated everyone.
He had ties to a violent street gang and aggravated robbery. So I mean, this isn't the guy you bring home.
I'm talking about the relationship with the victims.
Well, but good. Still, this is not the kind of guy you bring home to meet your mother. This is the kind of guy you bring home to beat up your mother.
So, but we cannot dismiss the fact that he took the time to remove the baby, because if the baby is left at the home where this takes place, the baby may not survive because there's no one there to take care of the child, and no one will know to necessarily to go check on this family, right? No one's necessarily going to drive by and discover the bodies and find the baby alive. That's not a guarantee. So he removes the baby from there, and he has to know that by giving the baby to a stranger, they're going to try to track down whose baby this is. So it's going to lead police to the crime scene much quicker.
And not only that, by honking the horn and such, and that was the right thing to do, right? By honking the horn and all that, like he risks the, them looking out pulling the curtains and looking out and seeing.
Yeah, and they were able to get a license plate, and I don't know if they got the license plate or they got some video of the car, probably based upon the description of the people who saw the baby being dropped off. So he provided leads to being captured by saving the baby. Like, you don't see that in a person capable of doing what he's alleged to have done.
So is it as simple
going on here?
I mean, even King Kong was nice to Fay Ray.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it as simple as evil men having their limitations, in their own mind? Like, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing, but I'm not going to do that.
If you remember the movie The Professional, right? Was Jean Reno was the professional assassin that was hired by the mob. He was used as an enforcer, and he would just go, "No women, no children. No women, no children." So he had this. That was his code. Was that he can do anything to men. Okay, but would never touch a woman or a child. That was off limits. This guy didn't seem to have a problem with a woman situation, obviously, but maybe it was just he had a thing with the child and was like, I can't take his, life.
So Ashley Bouchard, our mod on Facebook, but he heard a 15-year-old, the uncle. So all the victims are young here, right? And some are really
15 is young. That's true.
The uncle is just 15. The parents of the baby are like 20, 21 years old. They're a young couple. I'll go back to the picture of so you can see how young the couple is. Like the baby's parents. There we go. Young. Everyone's young.
Yeah.
Does that change your opinion at all, Jonesy, about like he sees a baby differently than he sees a 15-year-old? Than he sees
I stand by the opinion. You know, every man has his limitations, whatever they may be. His limitations happen to be like infant children. But
here's
that's the way it seems.
And here's what's different. Like, it's not just that he's not, with his own hands or with a weapon taking the life of a baby. He is making sure that the baby survives, right?
Yes.
So he's taking action, and that action will result in a much greater chance of him being caught and apprehended.
It also may, and this, I'm sure he wasn't thinking in these terms. It also may cause a little bit of sympathy when it comes time for sentencing and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's the only card they have to play, right? It's to me, if they have overwhelming forensic evidence and they can tie him to the quadruple red rum, this is now a D-pen case. He's facing the ultimate punishment now.
Right, and
that was announced. I had the prosecutor on my show the night before he made the announcement, and he said, we're going to make the announcement tomorrow. But the way he was saying it, I was like, oh, they're going for it, right? So to me, the only mitigating factor he could two potential mitigating factors here. One is the saving of the child, right? That he'll try to play that card in front of the jury. And secondly, potentially, which we don't know, which is the backstory of why this happened.
If I'm not mistaken, the grandmother, that was Rose, that was her name, right?
Yeah, 38 years old.
Right. So the grandmother's sister was Drummond's girlfriend. You've mentioned that, but I think she also worked at the prison. Wasn't she a prison guard or something like that?
Oh, was she?
Yeah, I think she was. I'm looking at this now. It says that Drummond's girlfriend was Rose's sister, according to Goodman, and she served as a corrections officer when and where Drummond was in prison for aggravated robbery. That was reported by CNN just now.
Oh my! Another twist in all of this.
Yep.
So presumably that's the origins of their relationship.
Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be because he got in there when he was. He's been there for a decade.
Yeah, since he was 16, 17. So, and the other thing is that he was treated as an adult at 16. Okay, so maybe that's why he doesn't look at a 15-year-old like it's a kid, because he wasn't treated like a kid.
Wow. Now, will a jury? Let's presume he gets convicted here. Would a jury have any? Would they cut him a break because of the baby, and because of that sole reason say, okay, maybe this is someone who deserves life rather than being put on the row?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint of this is, you do find people in this world that are purely evil. And this is a man who is out, okay, spent his entire time in prison, which is very rare, like you had mentioned, and that is true. Now, granted, any type of violent crime is usually a requirement. You have to serve 85% of your sentence before you're eligible for parole. But his situation, he spent, he maxed out. So that very odd that happens, very rare. And then during that time was up on charges for an attempted red rum on a fellow prisoner there, bonds out, and then red rums 4 innocent individuals. I don't see that him saving the baby is going to save him.
What if there are circumstances? By the way, Sarah Jane commenting on my little Pepsi makes me look like a giant. That makes you look tiny, Jonesy. You have the big Pepsi. That makes you look tiny.
I got the big one too.
See how huge my hands are with this can of Pepsi?
Yes.
That may make me the largest member of the crew here. Thank you,
No,
sir.
I think that goes to me.
It's certainly, I don't think there's going to be that. This guy's pedigree is just, it's awful. I don't see anyone saying, yeah, but he's kind to dumb animals. I mean, this is not going to help him at this stage. It's almost like, red rumming your mother, red rumming your father, and going in front of the judge and say, be merciful on me because I'm an orphan. Okay. I mean, like,
almost. Yeah, it is almost like that.
Doesn't really work. But I was nice to the kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what about the 15-year-old?
And this may give us a little more insight. So he was a small business owner, Jonesy. Do you want to guess his line of work? What's his line?
What's his line? Jeez.
Do you remember how to play What's My Line?
Yes.
So you ask some questions and I'll say yes or no on his behalf. Go ahead.
Okay. Did he deliver anything?
Yes.
9 points.
Did he deliver multiple items at a time?
Sort of, yes.
He's a trucker.
No.
So, Albert, it would be your turn.
Al knows. Do you know Al?
Yes, I do. So that's why
You can't play.
Yeah.
Because
I normally going to cheat. I caught Al. Al was going to cheat.
No, I wasn't. I fessed up. I could have said no, I didn't know.
Well, I only deferred because normally on What's My Line, after I got it wrong, it would normally go to the next panelist.
Yeah, but go ahead. Keep going, Jonesy. We'll give you 2 more minutes here.
Did he deliver to people's homes?
Yes.
Did he deliver packages?
No.
Well, he can't be a milkman because there aren't any milkmen except in Albert's neighborhood anymore.
I have a milkman in my house. I do. He's a singing telegram performer.
Merry Christmas, Oscar Madison. Your alimony's due. If you don't pay up right away, I'll get the cops on you, and you'll spend Christmas in the clink with other bums like you.
All right, you want me to reveal what he did?
Please.
He delivered and set up balloons for children's parties.
Oh, my stars. I used to deliver fruit baskets between industry jobs. There's nothing like showing up in a hospital. Those were the best visits. You go into a room, there's things bleeping, the person's totally out of it, the person's on their last legs, and you're like, yeah, I got this fruit for you.
Why am I picturing Jonesy with one of those hats with all the fruit in it?
Carmen Miranda.
Yeah,
right?
The Carmen Miranda look.
Delivering fruit.
The Chiquita Banana Man.
Here he is. He was caught on surveillance. This is how they tracked him. They were tracking him. Surveillance videos at night, walking around with his rifle in people's backyards. And I think he was staying in an empty pool house. And then it was a local citizen who saw this guy, suspicious guy in the woods, made the call, and boom, the SWAT team came in, and within 5 minutes, they had him in custody. But to me, this is dangerous. He's walking around. I am shocked that he went somewhat peacefully, right? There wasn't a shootout. I was expecting a shootout.
Well, you remember, Vin, on Monday when we covered this story, because I'm on 8 to 9 with Vinny every Monday night on Closing Arguments. I said, you know what? This guy he's a trapped animal, and he's going to be dangerous. And if you do see him, do not try to confront him alone. Call the authorities immediately, because he's got nothing to lose. And those are the most dangerous people when you've got nothing to lose. But you ready
for another twist? Sugar Magnolia is saying she read that the girlfriend, grandma's sister, is pregnant by him.
Well, if that's the case, wouldn't it come out in the charges?
No, I mean he's not. He didn't red rum
a victim. The grandma's sister.
Yeah, grandma's sister's not a victim.
Oh, okay.
Well, she might be a victim. I'm going out with this guy is a victim in and of itself, but that's not as I understand it. I have not seen that. Obviously we've been following the story because of with Court TV covering it, and I did not see that aspect, but that wouldn't surprise me.
We don't know the motive. We don't know the motive. Could be, it could be something criminal, right? Like some criminal enterprise. It could be very personal because of the personal connections. I think there's something personal perhaps going on here.
The other thing I forgot to mention, that not only did he have the attempted red rum charge, but the day he's released,
what happened?
He was arrested for drugs. I mean,
so he's got two outstanding charges, still gets the bond, and is able to do this.
Yep, drug arrest the day he was released.
Little Miss America, I love Pepsi, Vinny. Yeah. All right. Is it the real thing? No.
No, that's Coke. It's the Pepsi generation coming at you, here to stay.
And that's sacrilege for someone coming, who's shooting out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Everything is Coca-Cola.
Well, yeah, this is the land of Coke. But I find
Asbury Park.
I find that the Pepsi Zero is good. I
agree. I think it's the best. I think it's better than Coke Zero.
So it is good, but here's my issue. When I go to the market now and try to buy a 6-pack of these Pepsis, they've changed the Pepsi Zero to look almost exactly like these regular Pepsis. And in fact, on the carton top, it says Pepsi, which is the brand, not
right.
And so I buy those by mistake sometimes, and I think they do that on purpose. So you'll sample.
You got to buy it. You've got to buy another one. And thank you, Little Miss America. Amy loves Cherry Coke Zero.
Pepsi has a cherry Pepsi Zero also.
So would you say that Cherry Coke tastes like Dr. Pepper or no?
No.
Cola. But no, I don't. Well, I did like Dr. Pepper when I was a kid.
I never liked it as a kid, and I've tried it since, and I'm hooked. It's really good.
So the one thing about Pepsi is they've changed their formula through the years for their sugar-free and low sugar items. Do you recall the name of the first one that they had?
What, Tab?
No.
That was a Coca-Cola product, Tab.
Yeah.
So there was Pepsi Light, but that's
Pepsi
different.
Light.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the first. I'm sure they had Diet Pepsi before that. Pepsi Light wasn't entirely diet. It was like half and half.
Pepsi Light had lemon in it, didn't it?
Yes. They put a little lemony taste in and took out half the calories.
That's right.
And it had like the light blue can.
Yes. Well, the Pepsi Zero Sugar is a black label.
Yeah, I like that.
See? It's a black label. It's not
but the top of the carton says the brand name says Pepsi, and to me, as an elderly man, I get confused.
Mary D says no pop for me. Now this brings us to a whole nother issue.
Oh yeah, soda pop, right?
Soda pop. Some people, there are parts of this country where everything is a Coke.
Soda pop to me is a character in The Outsiders. To me, it's always been soda, or as I used to say as a child, soda. Soda,
right? Soda. My brother, before when he was learning to speak, called it funda.
Funda.
That
sounds fun.
Growing up, we would call it funda because my brother would say funda, and it kind of stuck. But yeah, we're definitely
Fanta.
Yeah. So Jersey is definitely soda country.
Yeah. So
I don't know where pop is, but I think is it the Midwest where they call everything a Coke, or is it down south? I can't recall.
I always thought pop was Southern because I would see it on shows like Andy Griffith and stuff like that.
Yeah. So pop is probably the South, and I think Coke is the Midwest, where I'll have a Coke, and then they'll ask you what kind of Coke.
Right.
What do you mean, what kind of Coke? A Coke is Coke. No. Do you want like Sprite? Do you want what do you want? Do you want a 7-Up?
See, I could see calling all cola products Coke simply because it's because of the branding.
Right.
Yeah,
but they call all soda Coke. So
yeah, that's
when
weird.
you order a Coke, they're going to ask you, what kind of Coke do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy, right?
I remember that in my days at Studio 54.
Yes, I was staring at your face, and I knew what you were thinking of.
Much different answer at that point in time.
You know what's great is that the audience in the chat now is jumping on the tangent. So we go from Pop to Gringa L saying the real question is, what is the last generation to call their father Pop?
My son still calls me Pop.
He call you Pop, not Pops?
Yep, Pop and Pops.
He calls you Pops.
Yeah, both.
Interesting.
Well, I didn't have an official father, so I called him Jimmy. I have a father by name that I was told was my father, who was deceased, fell from the Pulaski Skyway. He was a bridge painter, fell to his death in 1971. And then eventually I found out I was a bastard child of James Edward McKenna.
Okay. Now I'm trying to figure out.
Don't try.
Which memoir I want to read first.
Yeah.
The Wunsch or the Jonesy memoir?
No, Jonesy's memoir will beat mine. His is like what was it? The Once Upon a Time in America. I mean, that's what his is about.
You gentlemen, your upbringing is like the Brady Bunch. Mine is more like Roseanne.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's every time, Vin, we learn something new. That is just it's just more and more endearing to the entire public hearing about Jonesy.
When you hear about those things, and I tell them just because they're true, and I find them to be fun facts, even though they don't sound it. I didn't do too badly for myself, huh? Hey.
At least you never fell off the Kosciuszko causeway.
Yes. Pulaski Skyway.
The Pulaski.
Right, so Kentucky, it's Coke for all. Thank you, Anita. And Sherry says Coke is South, not soda. We don't say that.
By the way, okay, can I just jump in? Because the Pulaski Skyway is named after Casimir Pulaski, who was the father of the American cavalry, came over and shared our independence from Britain and trained all of the Americans on how to be a cavalry soldier and officer. So
interesting.
Pulaski.
So very interesting.
Civil War to civil rights and all the revolution fights. World War I and World War II. I'll always knows who is who. It's this day in history. This day in history. History. Now let's listen to his story.
We'll jump on this day, August 8th, 1775, in Revolutionary War history. There's the Battle of Gloucester, Massachusetts, which was the second naval engagement of the war between the HMS Falcon, which was the British ship, and the residents of Gloucester, Massachusetts. The ship docked and decided to send men over into Gloucester to steal sheep. And the townspeople found out, ran, and then actually stopped the thieves and also caused the British ship to have to retreat. So it was a sizable victory for the Americans at an early part of the war when there was not a lot of victories. So that was the situation in 1775 Rev War history. History-wise, okay, we have August 8th, 1969. The iconic Beatle photo for Abbey Road, the album, was shot on this day in 1969, where they were walking across where Paul McCartney doesn't have any shoes on and things along those lines. That was done on this day. And in 1974, Richard Nixon resigns. He resigned. And the thought of quitting anything is abhorrent to me.
I can tell you where I was when Nixon resigned. We were staying in Belmar, New Jersey, exit 100, and the roller derby was playing at the casino in Asbury Park, exit 102. So I begged my dad, Jimmy, to take me, and he said he wanted to watch Nixon resign. But I won, and we went to see the roller derby the night that Nixon resigned.
Well, he resigned, and it was effective the next day, and Jerry Ford was sworn in as the 38th president of the United States. On along to true crime, 1963, the Great Train Robbery in England. Okay, it was an attack on a Royal Mail train. 2.61 million British pounds sterling were stolen from this train. Interestingly enough, no firearms were used during the robbery, and most of the money was never recovered, and most of the men were captured and imprisoned. The famous one that people always seem to remember is Ronnie Biggs. Ronnie Biggs actually escaped. Ronnie Biggs escaped from prison and was on the lam for 36 years. He finally went back to Great Britain in 2001. He was imprisoned. He was released shortly thereafter, due to the fact he had cancer and was very ill. He died in 2013, and today is his birthday, by the way.
He also sang for the Sex Pistols.
Yes, he did, and a number of other groups too. There was a couple of German punk rock bands that he sang with also. He had a hit. He had a song that made the charts #7 in London for the Sex Pistols on the album the Great
Rock and Roll Swindle.
Right.
I thought they just put him there just for a publicity stunt. I didn't realize he had other musical.
He was a singer, and in fact, his son had a band that was a pretty well-known band in South America. And his birthday is 8/8/1929. Finally, on this day in 1969, a car carrying Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, Tex Watson, and Linda Kasabian set off for 10050 CeeLo Drive, which was the home of Sharon Tate and friends. And they would be red rummed right after midnight, the start of the Charles Manson red rums that went on August 8th, 9th, and just changed the world as we knew it with regards to people now locking their doors and things along those lines. So that happened on this day, 1969.
How about that? A quick question from Jay Press wants to know what's on my necklace.
Is it the Italian horn?
No, it's our Lord and Savior, given to me by my mom. For my communion.
Nice.
A few years ago. Years ago. So wow, what a day in history.
But it's this whole thing with the Mansons is just fascinating, and
it seems like every day something happened with that case. By the way,
and you know what I mean. What's remarkable is how they actually caught, like studying. When you look at the true crime stuff, what fascinates me is how the police solved the crime, especially going back in those days, because it was not something that was. They didn't have the DNA stuff. They didn't have all that kind of things going along. And for them, it was all footwork and just luck in a lot of ways. And in this situation, it was because one of the Manson women was in a prison cell on a car robbery thing and started bragging about being involved in the red rums of Sharon Tate and the rest, and Wojtek Wachowski, and Abigail Folger of the Folger Coffee family.
Folger Crystals.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, she was a millionaire heiress, and brutally red rummed by these individuals.
Meanwhile, Pop is in the Midwest, so we had it backwards. Pop in the Midwest, Coke in the South.
Okay, that works.
And I hate Brussels sprouts. That's good. That's really good. I hate Brussels sprouts. They never would have solved it, but for Atkins blabbing.
That's right. That's what you just mentioned. Yep, blabbing in the cell. But I do think that they would have eventually done that.
Joywag says you're obsessed with the Manson case.
Well, I'm not obsessed with the Manson case per se. I am fascinated by the trial. okay, because the trial was really something extraordinarily interesting, and having had the opportunity to meet and to interview and get friendly with Vince Bugliosi, and to see what he had to do in order to get that conviction of Charles Manson it's fascinating to me, because really Manson wasn't there. Okay, so I mean, it was like he was the so-called mastermind of all these things, and was smart enough to kind of distance himself for everything, and then they still were able to get the conviction. But if you take a look at what went on in that trial, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, a lawyer disappears, okay, for one of the women, and they find his body like months later, okay. Manson gets a newspaper and holds it up in front of the jury and says, Nixon says Manson guilty. Okay. And I mean, all of and then the girls shave their head. The girls put a swastika, I mean, that X on their foreheads, which later became a swastika for Charlie Manson. The people who were with the family that were not charged, crawling outside the courthouse on their hands and knees, and crying because of Charlie Manson. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah. Jonesy does sound like he's obsessed with it, right?
I was just thinking that actually when you use the word fascinated by it, and I'm looking at the chyron that said obsessed, and I'm like, yeah, it's close.
It's close.
But it is a fascinating case, a fascinating piece of history. How many, countless movies and books, and I can understand his obsession or fascination with it.
Were you mentioning some Manson merch? Because we have merch in the Vinnie Originale shop.
Hey everybody, I've got something for your body. Your body. You can wear it by yourself or with Frankie Valli. It's true crime merch from Vinnie Originale. It's true crime merch. It's true crime merch. It's true crime merch from Vinnie Originale. From Vinnie Originale.
All right, and I'm going to be editing this because I think we've got some new photos coming in of folks wearing the merch. So
excellent. And if you, Vin, if they wear merch to CrimeCon, if they wear these shirts and stuff to CrimeCon, okay, we're going to sign them for you. Okay, we're going to sign.
Look at that.
Simple as that. Gosh darn it, Mr. Obsessed with Manson. I'll be there signing, and I'll even sign Manson's name if you want.
Oh, look at this. Breaking news. True Crime After Dark. I Hate Brussels Sprouts is Frankie Figs.
What?
Frankie Figs going undercover as I Hate Brussels Sprouts.
And I
did not know that.
I like Brussels sprouts.
So Frankie Figs, along with Gen X and Ashley Bouchard.
And Jennifer Soupe.
Jennifer Soupe, part of our #1, top-rated, top-ranked mod squad.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The mod squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The mod squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean.
Never mean, folks, because some of those mods out there can be mean.
Yes.
They can be really mean. Ours are never, ever, ever, ever mean. And Gen X reminding folks, send in a picture wearing our merch to vinniesmods@gmail.com. vinniesmods@gmail.com.
We got to get Frankie Valli to wear one of those shirts.
I don't think I want him to know that I'm using his name. They might want a slice.
Yeah, they may. Yeah, that's a good point.
Just enough to wet his beak.
Yeah,
just a little bit to wet his beak.
He's still performing at 90.
You know who else is still performing is his brother Bobby.
Yes, well, he's always at the bicycle club. I told you that. He's in there all the time.
I'm in his algorithm, so I get all the Bobby Valley videos, and I just love them. And I'm like, if my parents were still around, I would hire him just to come to the house and sing for my parents and our family as we eat dinner. He's amazing. I love this guy.
Vin, he accepts only exact change, so that's the cost on the thing. But I mean, he does the the karaoke at the Bicycle Club, which is a restaurant in Englewood Cliffs. And he's there. He's like 3 times a month.
No, he's amazing. I adore and love it, and he just wants to perform. Doris is now saying that Frankie Valli is 91 now.
Oh, 91. Okay.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I saw him a few years ago.
Yes, I remember.
Front row.
Really?
Front row.
So you saw him not singing?
No. There's just a couple songs that he's singing. There's some track that helps back him up, but you can hear him. I could hear him in the front row.
I have no problem with, and this is blasphemous as a music lover, but I have no problem with enhancement in live performance of sound, because it is a performance. I'm not saying lip syncing, but enhancement, I think, is acceptable.
Absolutely.
Well, as a performer, I find that to be blasphemous. I just think
until you can't hit those notes anymore, and then you're happy to have somebody back there.
You change the key of the song. That's fine. I mean, look, that's what I do all the time. Why do you think I don't do karaoke? Because if the karaoke doesn't enable you to sing in your key, you sound horrible. Okay, so I mean, there are now they do have that ability, so you can tell them what key you're singing in.
What's your key, Al?
My key is I sing in a D.
You're a D. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't sing, so I
D-E.
probably don't.
I'm like DE on that type of thing. Depends. Like right now, I'm probably more of an E, but I mean, I can go with D. But you just change that. You change that, and you can get away with it. I mean, I can't hit the high note. I used to be able to do a mock Led Zeppelin, okay, and Robert Plant, and I can't hit those notes anymore.
What if I kicked you in the cannolis? Could you hit the notes?
No, even then it wouldn't really work.
Castrati. Can you sing Castrati?
Guys, we've got to wrap things up for today. We got to run a little short today because we had some meetings before. I have some meetings coming up, and this is my eating window. I've been stricken with type 1 diabetes, so I have to eat. Otherwise, it'll be a rough afternoon for me. So we're going to have to wrap things up. Big thanks to our mod squad. Big thanks to everyone in the chat. And big thanks to Court TV for the simulcast today.
Justice for Wariana Wright, killed 11 years today.
Yeah, that's from Cat TV. Thank you, Cat TV. And yes, 11 years today. Wow. It's tough with the cases where justice has not been found. Those are the tough ones. Those are the difficult ones.
Yeah, just throwing that on there is that, you see this whole Eton Pates situation coming back out where, they had the court overturned a conviction of the man who had been convicted of that red rum, and it's that poor family. It's just that have to relive all of that again is just horrific. And that you talk about the Manson case changing things with regards to locking your doors. The Pates case changed things where kids were no longer able to just take their bike and go around the corner. Parents became a lot more reticent about giving kids the freedom to roam the neighborhood like I did, like you did, Vinny, and Jonesy.
Yeah, you just had to be home by dark.
That's exactly right. You were gone for the day. And
my first visit
just all changes. But I just only bring up because I see that justice for 11 years, that situation is horrible, and this Eton Pates case just is another horrendous scenario. So sorry, but
My first visit to New York City was around the time they were looking for Eton Pates. They were searching for him, and there were posters on every single pole, telephone pole and stuff like that. So, I remember the story from like day one, and they didn't convict anybody, and now it's been overturned for what, like 40 years or something like that.
Alex? Yeah. They got to do it again. April Diaz, 1313.
Thank you, April Diaz. Have a great day today. Thank you, April Diaz. We appreciate everything you say. We all know she's a great fan, and we know the kind words she has. We always love to hear from you. Thank you, April Diaz.
All right, thank you, April Diaz. And hope you're feeling well today. Have a great weekend. All right, we got to wrap it up because I got to eat.
Man's got to eat, for God's sake.
Man's got to eat. Where can folks find you, Al?
Well, Monday night, Vin, I will be on with you, okay, on Court TV, closing arguments, 8 to 9. Other than that, I have no more concerts coming up until the night I fly back from CrimeCon, where I will be at the in Long Island at the Music Awards. So
fantastic. Jonesy, where can folks find the radio legend?
Best way to find my radio programs is through the website glennjones.net. Glenn with one N, like mommy intended it to be.
All right. You can find me.
Hasta la vista, Los Tanginistas.
Yes, indeed. And you can find me every night on Court TV, 8 to 10, 2 hours of live true crime, closing arguments with Vinnie Politan, big stories of the day. Then at 9 o'clock, things get intense. Vinnie Politan investigates. 2 different outfits. One outfit for the first show, an outfit for the second show. It's all live. I do a wardrobe change during the commercial break. There's a video of me doing that posted. You can find it on my YouTube channel.
And at CrimeCon, he's going to be doing it in front of everybody.
Yeah, wardrobe change live at CrimeCon. All right. That is it, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
Somebody say podcast, podcast. Tangent, tangent. Podcast, podcast. This is the Tangent Podcast. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in court. Somebody say tangent.